So I'm here with two very big names in the industry. I've got Malcolm Fry with me, and I also got Stephen Mann from Forrester. And what I want to talk about, there's kind of three areas I want to talk about. The first is emerging technology or emerging trends and their impact on IT in general. I also want to talk about metrics and why we're so poor at those and why we don't make decisions based on them. And I will have another topic for you as well towards the end. I'm just looking for a few answers in your interpretation. So if we start with the kind of emerging technology, so say technologies or trends, well, cloud computing is one, the other one's social media and collaboration, how people are using that. The other one is consumerization of IT, which I suppose ties into that, and bringing their own devices to work and using those. So from my perspective, this is having a major impact. I'd like to know what your thoughts are, first of all. Which of those do you think is going to have the biggest impact? Mobility is the other one, of course. Mobile devices, apps, tablets, all of that type of thing. So from consumerization, social, mobility, and what do you think is going to have the biggest impact on IT and the way we use it in business?
It's not only the changing IT landscape, it's also the changing business landscape that we have to be very aware of within the IT service management community. So across, you mentioned mobility, consumerization of IT, cloud and social. I mean, all of them are going to impact us in different ways. But I think the one that we're really missing out on at the moment is mobility, in that it will impact us through so many different avenues. So to start off with, mobile devices. Actually, what I should have said, mobility and the consumerization of IT. So people using their own mobile devices in the workplace. So the perfect storm between the two of those. So if we take the fact that I am using a laptop device that is my own or a tablet device, and I include laptops in mobile devices. If we look at me using a personal laptop or netbook in the workplace, not only will we have issues from a service desk perspective in terms of it being a different device with a different configuration, different software, etc., there are other aspects that will also have ramifications. So for instance, if we look at it from a software asset management perspective, the fact that it isn't a corporate asset, I don't think will wash from an audit perspective, in that it's my device. However, I'm a corporate employee using that device for corporate purposes, probably on corporate premises, on the corporate network, accessing corporate applications. So how can the corporation or the enterprise not be vicariously liable for the software on that machine? Another thing, continuity of service. We all know as IT service management practitioners, either in the present or in the past, that if we lose a device, we probably lose it in a pub somewhere. I mean, Apple employees do it quite well as well, don't they? Whereas at the moment, you use your device, you'll probably be up and running in 24 hours time with a new device, set up or configured as how you like it, and you'll be able to work with it. If you've got your own device, it's probably going to be a week before you've gone out and bought another one. Well, first of all, you'll be haggling with your employer as to whether you pay for it or whether they pay for it. But then when you've got it, we all know it takes us 24 hours to set up a Windows device by the time we've done the patches, applications, got it set up as to how we like it. So all of these things need to be factored in.
So Malcolm, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, Pat, it's kind of an interesting question, because I think we've got two sides to this coin. The first thing is that schools, in fact the school where my grandchildren go, which is a regular state school, now all have iPads. The school gave out 1,200 iPads. So the whole behaviour of those children is going to be entirely different to any other generation. I know we keep hearing that about IT, but the reality is if you give and build your lessons and book access and so on and so forth, all through iPads, does that mean that the children's behaviour is going to change? You bet it does. It's going to change dramatically. That's going to be their tool of use right through a school year, maybe even more than a pen and pencil. So that's definitely going to change behaviours. That changes thought processes, and those are already changing. I think we're on the era now of what I call the deregulation of IT. If you look at other industries like the open skies and the deregulation in the power industry, not long ago you could only get your power locally, and you pay for it locally, and you had no choice. Now in one bill you can get your telephone bill, your TV satellite, your power, your gas, your water, all in one bill, or you can negotiate those individually. And I think that that's beginning to come with IT, because business managers can download things like apps, if they've all got, doesn't matter whether they're their own, but preferably business smartphones. And you can say, okay, I think there's a really good calendar system, that you can get that app for nothing. And business managers are starting to do that. They're starting to look at those devices and say, well, I've got one of these at home and I can download whatever I want. And that's the challenge for IT. How do we get involved in that? Because we're sure as hell, if we allow a device to come in, however it comes in, we're going to be expected to fix it and maintain it. Even though we've never seen it, we didn't buy the app or we didn't select the app, we're still going to get a calls to the service desk saying, this calendar doesn't work. What calendar doesn't work? I don't even know you had a calendar, because there wasn't a calendar. And I think the deregulation is something that IT has to understand, that it will happen, and what can we put in place to make sure that we get involved in the decision-making process, that we can support what's being brought in, that it meets regulations, you know, as far as governance and as far as legal needs. Can we do this? Can we not do this legally? But the key thing is, if you look at those industries, and if you go back 10 or 15 years before the open skies, basically in Europe, you couldn't undercut the local airlines. So in fact, if you threw into France, you couldn't undercut Air France. That was the rule. Now you can fly into France for £10 as a result of deregulation and the consumerism that comes as a result of that. And that's what I think we're going to see in IT. IT is going to have to learn how to handle deregulation. And this generation that are coming in, that are from 11 years onwards, have only used technology as a way to learn.